Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Verse 174. Indrajalamidam dvaitam achintya-rachanatvatah ityavismarato hanihi kava prarabdha bhogatah. So Vidyaranya continues with his commentary on second line of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusanchvaret. And this particular line talks about a aparoksha jnana phalam. What is that? The simple one-line answer is the person is free from desires now, because he sees himself as Purna. So Kim itself is indicating a akshepa, nishedaha. Kimichan, desiring what? Means he doesn't desire. And Vidyaranya refines that statement. So, means he doesn't desire at all. No. He says when Upanishad talks about this sarvakama nashaha, we have to add a proper adjective. We should take it as a sarva bandhaka kamanasha. Well, he is free from all binding desires. So normally desires are born of ignorance, and in Jnani, still desire arises from his mind, and then they are non-binding desires. How come non-binding desires arise in Jnani? Vidyaranya says Kama has a two source, desire has a two sources rather. First is a desire is born of Ajnanam, ignorance, and second is a desire is born of a Prarabdha Vasana. So it can influence this karta. So basically through Ajnanam, the desire can arise, or through the source of a Prarabdha Vasana. Prarabdha Vasana we have discussed. So Prarabdha, when you do a karma, two things are produced. Karma phala will be produced, which you will experience as a Prarabdha phalam, as a bhokta. And it will produce impressions. When you do a karma, it will also produce an impression and of doing same karma again. And that is called Prarabdha Vasana. So that also, Vasana also brings another desire again. So that influences a Karta Jnani. Karta Jnani means we know very clearly now, so I can go ahead. Is Karta Jnani means or Akarta Jnani? No, Karta Jnani. So this is a Mithya Kartrutvam, etc. So anyway, and these kama are there for Jnani, and because of Prarabdha Vasana, not because of Ajnanam, and therefore it will not generate a bondage. It will not be a binding desire. And he gave an example, very beautiful example, just as roasted seeds. Roasted seeds has two capacities. One is a consumability, bhoga pradatvam, and second is a ankura janatvam. It has a capacity for a bhoga, one, and it has a capacity to generate samsara, both. So same way our roasted seed here ankura janakatam, it has a capacity to generate sprouts. Same way, the desire also has a twofold capacity, where it generates a bhoga and it also generates a samsara. And of these two, in case of seeds now, fire actually does not destroy both the powers. Fire destroys, ankura janakatvam. Fire destroys the capacity of the seed to generate into a sprout. But still fire does not destroy the capacity of the seeds to generate a bhoga. That will be there. In fact, roasted seeds only we take. All roasted seeds we take for eating. So, or for cooking, let us say, either, and then bhoga. So, just as fire destroys the partial power of the seed, called capacity to generate into sprout, same way this jnanam, which we consider as a fire, destroys the partial power of the seed called kama. And kama has also twofold power, as we discussed: consumability, bhoga pradattam. It gives you a bhoga, sukha dukkha, whatever. That will remain. But this agni, fire, knowledge, will destroy the other power, other capacity of this, desire, samsara utpadakatva. So, it will not generate a samsara. It will not, here it is a sprout, in case of seed. So, how come, how does kama produces samsara? Well, by increasing more kamas. As you fulfill the kama, it will generate more kamas. More kama, more karma, then more punya papa, more janma, and then again janma, again manushya janma, again desire to desire, then you karma, means bhoga, then impression, then desire. Abba. So that capacity goes away by this fire, knowledge. So Vidyaranya says, in case of ajnani's kama, both powers are intact. So when jnani goes through this vyavaharika bhoga given by prarabdha kama, it will not create further kama, further desires, further samsara, and therefore kavahanihi. Well, iti kavahani, even though he goes through this prarabdha bhoga, what adverse consequences, well, in form of a samsara perpetuation will be there for jnani? It won't be there. So, in second line it says, iti avismaratah jnanina. One who does not forget what jagan mithyatvam. For jnani, we all the time remembers. Avismaratah, smaratah, remembering. Vismaratah, forgetting. Avismaratah, not forgetting. It is remembering. So for jnani, who remembers this jagat mithyatvam, well, such a jnani prarabdha bhogatah, when prarabdha bhoga is very much there, a desire is there, and he experiences sukha dukkha, etc. But that jnanam does not destroy, jnanam has destroyed a further desire, etc. Samsara, I mean. And therefore, when jnanam has not destroyed this prarabdha bhoga shakti, it has only experience giving shakti, it has not destroyed. And samsara activation power is destroyed. Anyway, so therefore kavahanihi bhavet, even he goes through this prarabdha, what adverse consequences in form of a samsara perpetuation will be there for a jnani? That is not there. And then he further explains or elaborates through example this principle. 175. Nirbandhastatva vidyayaha indrajalatva samsmritau prarabdhasya agraho bhoge jivasya sukha dukkhayoho. So this jagan mithyatva, dvaita mithyatva jnanam and prarabdha vyavaharika bhoga can coexist for a jnani. Very wonderfully he explains. Why? Vidyaranya says jnanam and prarabdha function in two different planes of reality, and therefore there is no contradiction. And Vidyaranya presents this idea in a very dramatic form. Vidyaranya imagines a jnanam as one person who insists on one thing, and he imagines a prarabdha as another person who insists on something else. Like a father has two children, and one child insists for a balloon, and the other child insists for an ice cream, and like that. So jnani has these two, as though these two children. Well, and one insists on one thing, and means jnanam. Jnani has a jnanam, jagan mithyatva jnanam, dvaita mithyatva jnanam. So that insists on one thing, And Jnani also has this prarabdha, bhoga, prarabdha through prarabdha vasana, desire, and then bhoga, etc. So that insists on other thing. So through prarabdha, all the vasanas are there, and that has created a desire for a particular bhoga. That's another child, or that's another person in his mind, which insists on other thing. And both are in a totally different fields, and therefore different planes of reality, I mean. So they can coexist. That's what he says here in this verse. Tattva vidyayaha nirbandha. Nirbandha means insistence. Tattva vidyayaha nirbandha. So tattva vidya, the knowledge of a reality which is in the intellect, the jnani, which insists on one thing. What? Indrajala samsmrutau. Indrajala samsmriti vishaye nirbandha. So, it's a Vishaya Saptami. Samsmrutau samsmriti vishaye means Indrajala samsmriti. Jnani, I mean this particular jnanam in the mind, that child in his mind, all the time insist on what? Indrajala samsmriti. They're like a tambura shruti. It all the time, the jnanam reminds mithyatvam of the jagat to the jnani. Clear? All the time. Like in certain companies, they have supplied something, given delivery, and then other party to whom they have given, they are not giving payments. So they continuously remind through email, or they will send a person to their office, and that person comes every day and sits. Please give payment. Please give payment. Please give payment, like that. So this jnanam in the mind, in intellect of this jnani, reminds him. Samsmriti, samyak smritihi. It's actually, knowledge is not a memory. By the way, this I don't want to deal the topic right now. So it is not. It's just oneself. It's just oneself. If somebody tells me I am a human being is a memory, how it is? How it is? Even the memory goes by some accident, etc. I tell you, this thing will remain. This thing will remain. When he comes out of it, he will still feel that I am a human being. Anyway, I am a human being is not a memory. But here Indrajala Samskriti, it will continuously remind this person. Otherwise, moksha also becomes a memory, based on memory. This is a dangerous thing to enter into. Anyway, Indrajala Samskriti. So, like a tambura shruti, it reminds Mithyatvam of the Jagat. And this topic, I mean, by the way, just this topic has been discussed by Pujya Swamiji in Bhagavad Gita home study course. This knowledge is not a memory, etc. Anyway, there's a little technical thing. We will keep it aside at this point. So in company like that, as I told you, they continuously remind. Same way, this knowledge reminds this person. This is one. Now second child, prarabdasya agraha. He has to use another word. So now not nirbandha, agraha. Again, insistence. So prarabdasya agraha. Kama has got prarabdha through that kama vasana, and now kama desire has got another work. It has got insistence. What? For what? Sukha dukkhayoho bhoge, sukha dukkhayoho bhoga vishaye, with regards to, experience of a favorable and unfavorable experience. So he continuously reminds. So bhoga pradattam is the only aim of prarabdha. So he sends a reminder for a bhoga. He sends bhoga and he reminds for the experience of bhoga. So this both exist with their insistences in a jnani. And of course, this jnanam is pertaining to the ultimately Brahman. That's an ultimate reality, Paramarthik Vastu. And this prarabdha is with respect to this jiva, ahankara. So that's what he says, jivasya. So, ahankara part of the jiva, sukha dukkhayoho bhoge, it is in the realm of this ahankara or the jiva. So, he has an obsession the prarabdha has an obsession Prarabdha Kama has an obsession for the experiences of Sukha Dukkha. Whereas Jnanam pertaining to the reality, which is Brahman, which is the ultimate reality. And therefore both are in a different field. You can say here also like that, now Swamiji, Jnani is a Jiva and therefore, so he is a Jivan Mukta. Okay. So then Prarabdha is with respect to Ahankara part of Jiva. Let us put that way. And this Jnanam pertaining to the Atma part of Jiva. What are you speaking? We have never heard like this. We have discussed this. That Jiva is a composite entity. We have discussed. We have very well discussed. When you say Tvam, when you are saying Tvam means you means what? You means Jiva. Jiva is not a Jiva is a composite entity. It is a mixture of three things, if you remember. Yeah, we have discussed. So I have not forgotten, okay? And therefore, this Jiva is nothing is a separate entity in the creation. Everything is non-separate. Jeev, Jagat, Ishvara, everything is non-separate from Atma. That's it, and therefore composite. Wave is not a separate entity. Otherwise, wave is Satyam. Wave is a composite entity of name and form plus water. And therefore, this is also a composite. So Jiva is a composite entity, and this Jnanam, Mithyatva Jnanam, etc. relates to that Atma part. We should say like that, Atma part of the Jiva. And this Prarabdha is definitely relates to that Ahankara part of the Jiva, Prarabdha, etc. Prarabdha Kama, etc. So that's entirely a different thing. Anyway, let's go to verse number 176. He is going to say something very interesting. Vidyarabdhe viruddhete na bhinna vishayatvatah janadbhirapyendrajala vinodo drishyate khalu. Okay. So Vidyaranya now answers a possible doubt. This Purupakshi says, can Mithyatva Nishchaya and Sukha Dukkha Bhoga can coexist? He has still doubt. After we clarified, but still he has a doubt. He feels this cannot coexist. He says a different argument. He says, well, once Mithyatvam is established of this Dvaita Jagat, then how Prarabdha can give a Sukha Dukkha from this Jagat? Sukha Dukkha with respect to objects, that he already knows it is Mithya. Then how a Mithya thing can create a Sukha Dukkha? Bhoga is from Jagat, or any object. So based on that, many people argue also. How can a Jnani has a bhakti for a Lord? So ultimately Lord is falsified, and therefore bhakti should go away from the Jnani. If bhakti goes away, it is not a bhakti, it is a vague thing, it doesn't go. Bhakti, once it comes, it doesn't go. It culminates into Jnanam. That is what it is. Bhakti never goes. If bhakti goes, it is not a bhakti at all. So, anyway, so this is this kind of question. So, once you know it is mithya, how can it create a sukha dukkha, etc.? Vidyaranya says it is possible. And he brings an example, amazing example. He gives an example of that magic show. Magic show, even though it is false. Some alert. So Vidyaranya says it is possible, and he gives an example of a magic show. That magic show is false, everybody knows, but still these people in the hall, all are jnanis, right? They have mithyatvam jnanam of the whole magic show. They know it is mithya. Beforehand they know. What they are going to see is already mithya. Already with jnanam they enter into. And and still they enjoy, gain sukha, or maybe dukkha also, I don't know. Depending upon, they were cutting the that lady and all that two pieces and all that kind of thing also. They, what are they doing? Sukha Dukkha it creates. All Jnanis, 800 Jnanis are sitting with a Mithyatva Jnanam of the entire magic show. And they purposely go to gain Sukha. With Mithyatva Jnanam they enter. This is how Jnani does. Jnani has a Mithyatva Jnanam of the entire show. Anyway, so all movies and TV serials, we know are mithya. It's just a light and shadow, we know, right? Light and shadow. All characters and everything. All they... This is creating a disturbance. I don't know, this will not stop by any means. So all movies and TV serials, they are mithya, it's a light and shadow. And they die there in the serial and all, etc. And these people, our wise people, we all. And we have wisdom. Even though he has died in this serial, he has really not died. It's all show, light and sound show. And therefore, ultimately, he will appear in the next serial, etc. So again, it is a story written by someone, and accordingly, the movie is going on. Even now, also, some of the serials in the TV, etc., well, they are very hot, high rating they have got. And because of our all Jnanis only make it as a very hot serial. High rating. Views, 1.1 million views, like that. So, and who are all Jnanis because they know it's all mithya. Mithyatva Jnana. And while seeing the movie, sometimes they laugh and sometimes they cry. That's how it is called movie. Muvati iti movihi, which moves you, which make you cry, is called movie. And therefore, Vidyaranya argues, Jnana, he is going to abolish. He is going to abolish. I was so thrilled today. Let me wait. Vidyaranya argues this Jnanam does not destroy bhoga pradatvam of a mithya knowledge. Mithya object. All pata-pati, nana-nani, everybody sit near TV. All are Jnanis. And they enjoy these serials and etc. Written by this some writer and conducted by the director and producer. So, same way, come to Jnani also, another Nana Nani, and and this world is another movie, script written by the Bhagavan, direction by Bhagavan, producer by Bhagavan, all one. So, script writer, producer, director, all Ishvara. And this Jnani knows Mithyatva of whole thing, and he is able to enjoy all serials, every day new episode. Morning when he gets up till night, a new episode. Amazing thing. And in our episode, there may be certain repetitions also, maybe new characters and same dialogues. But here, new dialogues, new characters, new situation. That's what it is. So, Vidya arabdhe na viruddhyete. Vidya, Jagan Mithyatva Nishya, etc. Jagan Mithyatva Vidya, does not contradict arabdham, prarabdham. Why? Binna Vishayatva, work in different field. So, Bhoga Pradatvam is a Vyavarika Drishti, then this compared to this Vidya Jagan Mithyatvam, knowing the Paramarthik Vastu. Janat bihi, so here it is talking about an example. So, in our case also, with respect to magic show or a movie or a serial, etc., we know very well the Mithyatvam, and at the same time, we have a Sukha Dukkha while experiencing, seeing movie, serial, etc., or a magic show. So, Indrajala Vinodaha, he gives example of magic show. Through enjoyment of magic show, so Drishyate, we see that they are experiencing Sukha Dukkha, etc. is seen, even though they all know that it is mithya. Khalu. Khalu means loka prasiddhi. This is well known in the world that even though mithyatva jnanam is there, still they are able to gain, derive this sukha dukkha experience while experiencing. Same mithya vastu. 177. Jagat satyattvamapadya prarabdham bhojayedyati tada virodhi vidyayah bhogamatranna satyata. So this Jivan Mukti is it's a unique concept in Advaita. Other people talk about this liberation, well, after death, going to Vaikuntha, etc. And they have this idea. I told you, Dvaita Advaita. That's called Vishishta Advaita. Vishishta Advaita, in which Dvaitam also exists as a reality. So like Jagat is non-separate from Narayana, Brahman. Jiva is also non-separate from Brahman. But Jiva and Jiva are different. Jiva and Jagat are different. So when you look at it from a one entity, from a samashti standpoint, it is Narayana, Advaita. But within that, Jiva Jiva different, Jiva Jagat different. So Dvaitam also is right. Based on what? How do you arrive at this Dvaitam? Pratyaksha. You are different, I am different. You need not have to ask anybody. Your eyes will reveal, your ears will reveal. You have different sound, I have different sound. You speak something different, I am speaking something different. You have one form, I have another form. So Pratyaksha reveals a Dvaitam. And Shastra reveals a Advaitam. And both are valid. Both are Moola Pramana. And therefore, just Advaitam we can't accept. Dvaita, Advaitam, Bheda, Bhedam, etc., etc. So anyway, that's how they challenge us, and they say this moksha, etc., knowing Advaita Vastu, non-dual Vastu, everything other than there is mithya, and therefore non-dual Brahman alone is the reality, that is Atma. And one who knows, he is free from all limitations of time, space, and etc., all the Vastu, and thereby he is enjoying freedom. This is called Jivan Mukta. So here itself you enjoy the freedom, moksha. That is not possible. That is impossible. Once prarabdha is over, then definitely one goes to Vaikuntha and enjoy the company of a Narayana, etc., serving him all the time. He is also there in the Vaikuntha all the time. And we also go there, and we also have got now a visa to stay there permanently with him, and therefore, but that is moksha. But I am Jiva there. I am a Kinkara, servant, and he is the one who is served. But that will remain all the time. So, but then where is moksha? That is moksha. You will be all the time in the company of a Ishvara, Narayana, serving him closely. You may be close to him. You may be a part of him. You may be in the same loka, maybe little away from me, depending upon your upasana of a Narayana. Salokyam, Sayujyam, Sarupyam, etc. So you may get even a form of a Ishvara, but still you are a doorkeeper. Yeah, in his palace. But don't think that you and are one. That is impossible. Dvaitam is true. Dvaitam is not a mithya thing. It's not correct. Anyway, this is what they say. And we are champion. We are champion. We say yes. What reveals is by Pratyaksha is right. What is revealed by Shastra also is right. Both, and still both can coexist. You say Dvaita Advaitam with the same reality, of course. But we don't say that. Dvaita Advaitam with the same reality cannot exist together, because both are opposite. So in one place, in one location, both the things cannot exist. Okay, then what is your view, Advaitam? Well, we say Dvaitam also is right, Advaitam also is right, and they can coexist. Okay? Then that's what I was telling you. No, but then one is mithya. and another is Satyam. Yeah. Of a, you know, the things of a different order of reality can coexist in one thing. Different things of a same order of reality cannot coexist. We have given so many examples, dream, dream day and night, outside night in the waking world. And inside dream he is seeing a day. Anyway, we have discussed. But this is just, by the way, I just got to remind you, I thought of. So Vidyaranya says when Prarabdha gives, it has some connection, I will tell you that. So when Prarabdha gives this Sukha Dukkha, it never says it is Paramarthika Satyam. This is amazing. So Satyatvam is not declared by the experience. Satyatvam is a conclusion made by the intellect. Earlier, the scientists used to say that the whole universe is moving around the earth, including sun and everything. Geocentric. Then later some scientists came and said, no, that's not correct. All the planets, including earth, are moving around the sun. When he said that, there was so much problem. He was in fact persecuted. But he found it was truth. So, you experience that the sun is moving around the earth because there is a sunrise and sunset. And therefore sun is moving all the time around the earth. Your experience is that, but that's not correct. But then experience does not convey that, what you are seeing is not correct. That is not conveyed by the experience. Your interpretation, ultimately, your knowledge helps. That is how even we say this Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, the experience of a non-duality. Vikalpa means a Dvaitam, Nirvikalpa. Experience of a non-duality, experience of an absence of a knower, knowledge and the means of knowledge. Everything in Samadhi is actually cannot tell you the reality about yourself that you are non-dual. That from that experience, through means of knowledge, you analyze that experience and come to the truth that you are the one who is Nirvikalpaka. You are neither a knower, nor known, nor instrument of knowledge. They are non-separate from you, but I am basically distinct from all the three. That is through the means of knowledge called Shastra. So experience of a non-duality will not make you wise, and it is truth. Experience of a non-duality does not prove the mithyatvam of a non-duality, mithyatvam of a duality. All this is your analysis of the experience of a samadhi through means of knowledge. Means of knowledge ultimately Shastra reveals that you are the one who is neither a knower, nor known, nor instrument of knowledge, and they are non-separate from you, and therefore ultimately you are non-dual. They are mithya, being non-separate from you. All the vikalpas called jnata, gni and jnanam, pramata, prameyam, pramanam, etc., all are mithya, and therefore by nature you are non-dual. All this is it's a knowledge from the means of knowledge called Shastra. And you can gain that knowledge by employing this means of knowledge. And therefore, experience will never say anything. That's what he is going to tell. So, this Satyatvam, etc., when Prarabdha gives us Sukha Dukkha, etc., it's an experience. It never tells you that this Sukha Dukkha, etc., are true or false. Nothing. It just gives experience of pleasure and pain. Satyatvam, etc., is of the Sukha Dukkha, etc., is not declared by the object, experience, etc. Satyatvam is a conclusion made by the intellect. So this is what Vidyaranya says here. So we analyze and find the truth. Experience never declares reality or otherwise. Vidyaranya says, suppose experience declared the reality of Dvaitam, then there will be a contradiction. Now you can understand. Pratyaksha reveals a Dvaitam, we say. Then means Pratyaksha means an experience, perception. perception of the world reveals Dvaitam, if you say, well, then what? Well, then there will be a fight between experience and the knowledge of the Vedanta. One of them is knocked off because knowledge tells you about non-duality. Pratyaksha tells you, I mean Vedanta knowledge, and Pratyaksha, that experience, perception tells you that Dvaitam is real, and Shastra tells you Advaitam is real. Cannot be accommodated. This cannot be accommodated. If that is also, Dvaitam also is Satyam, and this also is Satyam, well, then that is going to be a difficult job. Both of a same order of a reality cannot be in one thing called Atma or Brahman. And therefore, but fortunately, experience never declares its status. And therefore, yadi prarabdham jagat satyatvam apadya, suppose prarabdha brings about a jagat satyatvam of universe and bhojayet, it gives a sukha dukkha, makes person experience, and then prarabdha and Vedanta would have become in contradiction. Tada vidyayaha virodhi syat. Means, well, definitely, then vidyayaha virodhi. Well, prarabdha would have been in contradictory to the vidya, to the knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of unreality of the world. So perception reveals automatically a reality of the world. And our vidya reveals the unreality of the world. Well, in that case, one of them should be knocked out. What will you knock out? Pratyaksha? Or the knowledge, I mean the knowledge given by the pratyaksha, experience of a duality given by the pratyaksha should be knocked out, or this our jnanam based which tells the unreality of this Dvaitam, well, that should be knocked out. Both are ultimately equal pramana. But fortunately, this perception never reveals the duality as Satyam. It's our own interpretation. Experience never reveals the Satyatvam of a duality. So that's what he says here. So tada means tarhi, because yadi is there. So correlative pronoun should be there. Yadi tarhi. So means you have to supply that. So prarabdha vidyayaha virodhi syat. Then it would be, suppose basically the experience reveals the duality, satyatvam of a duality, etc. Then definitely there will be a contradiction with this vidya which tells the mithyatvam of a duality. But what is the fact? Bhogamatrat na satyata. Prarabdha never declares it is real. Prarabdha's job is to give you sukha dukkha, experience, which never reveals it is satyam. It only gives experiences, like TV serial, etc. Right? So you know it is mithya. That TV serial does not, that experience does not reveal that it is mithya. You know that it is just a light and shadow, etc. Nothing else. That you know. That's how Gaudapada says very beautifully, Upalambhat samacharat nasti vastutvam. Upalambhat samacharat, samyak acharat. And upalambhat means, well, you experience it. Nasti vastutvam, nasti satyata. Orderliness in the creation does not prove the reality. Capacity to give pain and pleasure by the world does not prove the reality of the world. It gives you pleasure and pain, that's it. It does not tell at the same time that we are real. It's our interpretation. It's our interpretation. See now 178. Anuno jayate bhogah kalpitais swapnavastubihi jagradvastubirapyeva jagradvastubirapyevam asatyairboga ishyatam. So, in a previous verse, Vidyaranya says, I talked about that relative correlative. You can see yadi word is there. So, yadi is there, and therefore, that's a relative pronoun. So, you have to supply tarhi. Yadi means if this is so. Jagat satyatvam apadya prarabdham bhojayet. While prarabdham, This prarabdha, while giving you the experience of sukha dukkha, also reveals jagat satyatvam. It also reveals jagat satyatvam, etc. Tada virodhi syat. So tada is equal to tarhi, I said. So then it will become a contradictory to what? Vidyayaha, of this knowledge. What is that? Bhogamatratna satyata. And therefore this knowledge which reveals the mithyatvam of the jagat, well, then it becomes a contradictory. But that's not correct. So bhogamatratna satyata. Prarabdha never declares, while giving you a different pleasure, experiences of pleasure and pain, it never declares that it is satyam. Bhogamatratna satyata. Anyway, so in previous words, Vidyaranya says an unreal object does not declare I am real. So you attribute reality to them. So doubt is object may not declare I am real, but then object gives pleasure and pain is a proof of reality. Object has not to tell. Object being an object, it's inert. It will not tell I am real or unreal, but it is giving you pleasure and pain. Yeah, it is giving you. Well, so by giving you pleasure and pain itself, the object reveals that it is Satyam. Abba. So, how can unreal thing give you pleasure and pain? It cannot give you. Therefore, if any object gives you pleasure and pain, means it is real. It may not declare. Being a jada vastu, it may not declare. Vidyaranya says, we are asking a question that how can an unreal thing gives pleasure and pain? There is no rule that unreal object cannot give pleasure and pain. You say a object gives pleasure and pain. So even though it does not declare that it is real or unreal anything, but we should take it is real. Indirectly it is telling you that I am real because I am giving you pleasure and pain. So we say there is no rule that unreal object cannot give you pleasure and pain. In our life, many pleasure and pains are given by imaginary things. Many. And we have given example, TV serial, movie, etc. And there is something else. Some you don't bring that TV serial. Okay, no problem. Imaginary thing gives you pain to a very great extent. Very great extent. Some tumor growth in the body. And you have given for biopsy. Now, this person is really in hell. He thinks that he is going to die. He calls his wife and says, now I will tell you how much bank balance, where I have kept everything and what are our possessions and all that. And he prepares for everything. And he calls his son, etc. and says, you should inform these people, etc. in case if I... Whole thing, till the report comes. In between. Till the report comes in between. He has imagined that he has a cancer. Of course, report comes that this particular tumor is a benign tumor. And therefore, so imaginary things does not give pleasure and pain. And therefore, what pleasure and pain comes from the object, that object is real. If you tell so, think of this. Thousands and thousands of things which are imaginary gives pleasure and pain. Thousands. And that other things we have already seen, etc. So the whole family, not only that person who has a tumor and given for biopsy, whole family is shaken. Whole family. And to what a large extent that pain would be, my God. So mentally projected things, imagined things also can give you pleasure and pain. So fear of the world, etc., does not prove pain, etc. Fear of the world doesn't prove that it is real. Vidyaranya gives example of course, Swapna. Swapna gives a dukkham, imaginary. Therefore, we have in fact one stotra, Duswapna Nashana stotra. If you are getting every day, or one Swamiji must be knowing that perhaps. Duswapna Nashana stotra. So So Sapna must be giving you a pain, then only you want to, therefore they tell this. You chant this and then go to sleep, go to bed. We would not chant if Sapna does not give pain. But we do chant, suppose. Then it is sure the imaginary thing, Sapna, the objects in that gives a pain. Anunaha jayate. Nunam means alpam. Anunaha means bahu, intense. Intense pleasure and pain. Jayate can arise through what? Through dream objects. And therefore, so now since you are listening to us, we are telling you. In fact, mithya padartha only can give pleasure and pain. Satya Vastu, Brahman, does not give pleasure and pain. So what gives you pleasure and pain is mithya. This is our final statement. Since you are listening to us, so we are putting you in the bottle and closing the bottle now. What gives you pleasure and pain is mithya. That's it. Satyavastu neither gives pain, neither gives pleasure. Brahman does not give sukha dukkha. No, Swamiji, Brahman, experience of Brahman gives sukha. Sukham atyantikam jayate, etc., etc. Bhagavan says, experience, it is just yourself. It's just yourself. Because of ignorance, you are not able to even, let's say, experience that sukham which is your nature. It is not an object. Brahman is not an object to be experienced and gain sukham. What you experience as a sukha dukkha is all mithya. That's it. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om.